found this The Italian Lute classical Renaissance thing, and it is fantastic. It's Brilliant Classics. They have like 1 million subscribers. I mean that, like 1 million subscribers. Not quite. Hi, I'm Bill. I'm doing errands. Errands, and I figured, you know what? I'm gonna stream it because this is 2026. Got some soda water. This is all in preparation for a production of Mary Poppins, which I'm in presently in La Crescenta. The candle comes from a guy named John, whose last name I forget, but he's a rather famous guy. He was in like the most famous FedEx commercial. He's like a Guinness Book of World Records speed talking. Really interesting guy. Anyway, gave me a candle. How is everybody? My shirts too long. They've got holes like in all the sleeves and, you know, the armpits and everywhere. Need to get new shirts. This shirt though, this is the Ulfithin Viking Entertainment shirt. This thing has actually stood up, so. If anyone has ideas on how to actually fold clothes, like proper ways, this is how I do it. And I put them in my suitcase, because I'm a vagabond, I guess. This one, see? I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, these holes shouldn't be there. But I just don't want to give up the shirt, you know? One of my buddies, Punksicle, said you could like cut out the design or whatever and do something with it, like put it on something else or memorialize it. And well, that actually is a really cool idea, I think. What the hell am I gonna do with a memorialized shirt, you know? Like, it's like taking a picture or something. Like, I will go back and look. I mean, it is interesting, you know, to like see yourself, once you've gotten a little bit of age on you, to see yourself 15 years ago or 10 years ago or 5 years ago or whatever it is. But beyond that, like, I don't know, I feel like I'm just gonna cart around stuff. Like, oh yeah, there's that shirt on a wall. I don't know, maybe it's worth it for the really good ones. Such as this one. Whatever happened to this band? Tiger 6. I love this t-shirt. I love the band. Haven't seen them in a long time. I think the lead singer, Kelly, I think is her name. Can't remember. Anyway, I think she had like some throat surgery or something. But if you know what happened to Tiger Sex, let me know. Trying to think of a way like I could fold it the way I do, like roll it, the burrito method, but have like the logo so you can actually tell. All of my clothes are black, as you can tell. Maybe this way. like, I go out in that shirt, or in a shirt, whatever. You know, I go out in shirts. But it has like holes going down. And every so often I'm kind of sitting there with the sunglasses on because it's California and it's sunny. And I look over and people are like, you know, because I look like I do. Not classy. This shirt I got from PIF. It's a Pasadena International Film Festival this year. It's a really cool film festival. Not in Pasadena. All the showings were in North Hollywood. But the after party was in Pasadena. Anyway, the shirt is enormous. They didn't have anything my size. Which apparently is in big shirts and Adidas. Dude, I've been wearing Adidas like Sambas. I've been wearing Sambas for a very long time. Like 20 years, long time. And I did it because, well, I like soccer, you know, but they were just moderately, what do you call it? Not inexpensive. Brain's not working right now. Doable. Affordable, Lord. Moderately affordable shoes that were pretty lightweight. No bells and whistles. Black. And, you know, they lasted. You know, if I wore them all the time, which I did, they would last like 2, 3-ish, maybe 4 years. Like, straight through. Kind of all terrain. You can run on them, you know, if there's like a bear. Not that you want to run from a bear. Anyway, apparently now, Sambas are like popular. So I'm rolling around and people are like, oh yeah, the Sambas. What? Big shirt. Okay. So what we do, we turn it backwards, right? Folding this way. Huh? Then, chin method. Roll it up from the bottom. This. What? I can see what my shirts are. Little tuck there. Bam. Goes in the suitcase. What? Dude, this is... I just figured out something that matters. It matters. It's the little things, really, that matter. My bit rate is 6148. I don't even know what that means. Is out of recommended for Twitch. Oh, it says please set bit rate to less than 3500. It's so high. Why is my bit rate high, yo? I got a bit rate that's way out. Let's see. Let's set this down to 3,300. How about that? How about just 3,000? I'm gonna go halvesies. See if that changes anything. There we go. Dropping bit rate. Boom. It's still giving me the warning though. Please set bit rate value less than 3,500. It's at 3270, baby. It's probably because my internet's so good. Got them good internets. We'll say 2,800 and hopefully it doesn't suck. If it does, then whatever, I'm folding longer. Oh no, it's excellent. Sweet. Alright. Cheers. So this is an electronic mug. Yes, it's bougie. It is bougie. okay? But check it out. My buddy, Ryan, and his lovely wife, Judith, got me this mug. It's an Ember mug. And it's like, I don't know how much they are. I think they're like $100 or something. This thing is awesome. $100 for a coffee mug is a little ridiculous. They had a deal or something, like a discount or an extra one, I don't know. But regardless, I've used this thing seriously for like 6 years, and it's a game changer, yo. It's my High Lung shirt. High Lung! If you're into it. You can't quite see it, but oh, wait. Hold. Yes, it just kind of looks like a brain right there. Boom. What's it say on the inside? Oh crap, I've never actually looked on the inside. Size M. Oh, it's just normal stuff, but it's Viking looking stuff, which is kind of cool. Do this. So yeah, we've been doing this show. It's been pretty sweet. I've done a few stage plays. I would never have called myself a theater kid. I did more of like loner, hang out by myself, wear black nail polish type kid. But that was a choir. Anyway, several productions, but none like this one. Turns out Mary Poppins is turns out Mary Poppins is rather new as a musical. I did not know this. I didn't know that the musical is so different from the movie. And I just seen the movie in full, I think earlier this year. Just happenstance. Happened to do it. I think it was made in the 50s. Let me look it up. Mary Poppins. I know they did a reboot with Emily Blunt. This was the 60s that Mary Poppins came out. And prior to that, it was a book series. P.L. Travers book series. That is rather... Turn on the dark mode real quick. So I know a little bit about this. This is all about... You can't really see what I'm doing, can you? This is all about the movie. Let me see if I can pull this off. That's not it. So this is all about the movie with Julie Andrews and Dick Van Dyke, who's still alive. I mean, Julie Andrews is still alive too, but Dick Van Dyke is like, it's like 103 or something. Let's see, Dick. You know, in another time and place, just his name is kind of, you know what I'm saying? Look at this guy. He's awesome. From what I understand, he's awesome. I've seen some interviews with him, and it's like, wow. So yeah, he's 101. That's an old dude. Anyway. Where in the hell was I? Yeah, so it's based off a book series. let's see, P.L. Travers book series, and the screenplays by Bill Walsh and Don DeGrati. And they changed a lot of it. They kind of took out, like, there's no sex in it, but they took out all the real affection, the intimacy between Bert and Mary Poppins. So in the movie, there's no sex, for lack of a better word, right? Very congenial. But I haven't read the series. Apparently in the series it's different. And in the musical, you can definitely play it like there is something that maybe not has gone on between the two, but that could, if circumstances were different. And so I think it makes a deeper story. Also, the musical can be a lot more gothic, and the way it was described to us is almost like approaching Grimm's fairy tale era or territory, where like Mary Poppins is a good entity, but she can, she can be tough, right? Whereas in the movie, she's not really tough, she's just extremely sweet. Spoonful of sugar, that's pretty much it. In the musical, you don't mess with Mary Poppins, right? Like, she will send you into the void if you're not careful. So. More heroine vibes, I would say. Anyway, I'd like to read P.L. Travers' series. So P.L. Travers, probably a pen name, because this is back in the day when women were not allowed to write, because that's how they rolled. So her real name was Pamela Lyndon Travers, born Helen Lyndon Goff. Oh, she's Australian. I didn't realize that. That's cool. So, let's see. She was a Shakespearean actress. She lived to be 96. Whoa, 1996. That's awesome. Wow, so Julie Andrews and Dick Van Dyke probably knew this woman. That's pretty cool. West End. Right, so the stage musical adaptation was in 2004. It's unfortunate that was, 8 years after she died. I bet she'd have liked to have seen it. Film based on Disney's efforts to persuade Travers to sell him the Mary Poppins films rights was released in 2013. Called Saving Mr. Banks, in which Travers is portrayed by Emma Thompson, who probably rocked and rolled. In the sequel to the original film, Mary Poppins Returns, played by Emily Blunt, returns to help the Banks family once again. I haven't seen that one. I'm going to assume that it's about their grandkids. That's just a complete off the wall. I wouldn't be surprised. I know nothing about the film, by the way, the Mary Poppins Returns, but it would not surprise me. It seems, I'm sure Emily Blunt did a good job, but when I saw I can be so pessimistic. It just seemed true.
Are you talking to yourself?
No, I'm streaming.
Oh.
Yeah, you're on, baby.
Yeah. No, I mean, I feel like it just I was in a place and then it happened and I was like, oh shit, you're like screaming.
You're on right
now. And so you are talking to yourself. You're literally talking to yourself.
Say hi, kid.
Good job.
To the world.
You got some music in the background. You're playing. Did you break some legs? Are you winning the
what?
Actor awards?
No, I'm not winning the actor awards. Hold on a second. Let me put this down a little bit, and we can chit chat.
Are we only allowed to talk while it's public? Only allowed to talk in public.
Yeah, we are. It's just I'm streaming right now. We can talk right now.
Yeah.
The edit.
Yeah. What is that? What are you streaming to? Why are you
Twitch.
streaming? What's your purpose? Let's do a recap for those who aren't paying attention.
Well, I was sitting here and I was folding clothes. And
Okay.
I was on Discord because I was like, maybe Ken will jump on. I don't know if he will or not. And I was like, why don't I'm sitting here talking to myself anyway because I talk to myself. And I was like, why don't I just stream this? Because in 2026, people are interested in vibing. So why not do a little
You're
vibe?
vibing.
Like if no one watches, it's exactly the same as if someone does,
Yeah, I get it.
And I was like, well, I'll play this. I usually do the ADHD music, but it's so proprietary, right? Whereas the loop music, the compilation, it's from other sources. So they're already compiling a bunch of crap. And I was like, well,
Yeah, I was thinking about starting a stream myself with my gear. My gear's in flux, and I was thinking about putting together a live electronic set. So I get it.
I think you definitely should. Well, you've streamed a couple times live, haven't you? On YouTube?
Yeah, but I'm not I'm not set up for that, so I can't.
Yeah, but you could be. I mean,
I could be.
it's also
Right now, my studio is in shambles.
what's
In
up?
pieces.
Why is it in
I
shambles?
just we got a new air conditioner, and I pulled the old air conditioner out. And to pull the old conditioner out, I had to unplug everything, and my keyboard is fitting.
Oh no! Oh no!
And this thing it looks neat, but none of it's hooked up. The mixer is fully unhooked. The whole room is just
God,
unhinged.
So much stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool though.
I'm about to move my office to another room in my house.
Really? Is it the one to the other side?
I might move downstairs.
Why? Is it just too hot up there or what?
It's more efficient for me to be downstairs, but it's also the dimensions are a little different. So I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of on top of myself right now, and I might be able to adjust. I just feel like, I don't really have space.
Yeah, you do have a phenomenal amount of equipment. Like when I was in there and you were editing, you just pull out stuff from behind a dresser, So having more.
Yeah, it's all in.
Check this out. So this is how pedestrian I've become. I have a new folding method. Are you ready? Okay, so you got your cool Star Wars shirt. Yeah. All right, so you fold it. You gotta turn it around, facing you, right? Like so. The Chen method, boom. And then you roll from the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? Then you can do this little tuck thing.
Well, you do a lot. Okay.
Check it out. And bam. Now.
Do you know what it is?
I know what it is, and that's Darth Vader right there.
Yeah.
That's it. That's Darth Vader. This is obviously a.
You got a new shirt? I don't think I've seen you wear that shirt before.
I think it's I don't know where I got it. Someone gave it to me. Literally.
You've got a shirt.
I have not bought a shirt.
Mm-hmm.
I bought one shirt. I bought the Tiger Sex shirt.
Yeah.
That is the only shirt I have bought. I think ever.
Yeah.
Ever. Maybe have bought one more.
Well, I've been thinking about some new Geeky Gamer podcast episodes.
Yes.
Where are we streaming? Are we streaming in the
Dreadlore? Yeah.
I've come across Allie. We've cleaned out Allie's parents' basement, and we've got these old school board games. There's this game, Magic Realm, and then the awful green things from outer space.
What?
And then we got Flight Captain and
Flight
killing.
Captain.
Yeah, Around the World Jetliner racing game, and then King Oil.
Is King Oil kind of like Monopoly, just for like Rockefeller type stuff, or?
I don't know. And then
cool.
we got Carrier Strike.
What?
And the
Sub-Search.
Going to Jerusalem, that'll be a fun one. The Sub-Search. And then they're the old standards like Risk and Access and Allies.
Access and Allies, that's a terrible game.
Yeah, it's solved. And so, yeah, we've been going through it. Found a bunch of stuff. Found a 16mm camera.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Film camera. And then we got a Commodore 64 and a Commodore 128 and like all kinds of...
You need to set up that Commodore. Now, does the Commodore... Yeah. It uses a computer monitor, right?
It does. It does.
Like, it doesn't have its own thing or anything.
No, it's proprietary.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I don't know if it works yet or not, but...
Dude, the Commodore... The Commodore... That's like one of the first ones. It's like with the Atari.
Yeah. We could stream Spacelander or Helicopter.
Whatever.
Or any number of their games. I think Asteroids even.
This is such a strange shirt. So, a former roommate.
I feel like you've not seen me wear that shirt either.
No,
it's very big.
The guy who lived in this room had it. Mm-hmm. He's a bigger dude than I am, and he was like, "Oh, I wear this shirt." And my girlfriend at the time was like, "Oh yeah, it looks good on you." And I was like, "What?" Mm-hmm. Apparently, big shirts, like oversized shirts, are in right now.
No.
Like big.
I mean, the reason why they're in is because we're getting older and our bellies are getting bigger, and so it masks the gut fat.
Maybe that's what it is. Regardless, I hate this shirt, but it has no holes in it, so I wear it.
Yeah.
But I don't know what's on it. It says, "If you don't know me, blah blah blah. Silence is bliss. Shush."
Yeah.
Is this a band?
I feel like that's like an attitude. It's kind of like Salt Life. You can't really read it, but it's there, and it's, for people who've been to the beach once.
Right. Yeah, Salt Life. I just don't get it. Like, it's a cherub. What's going on? Why is there...
Yeah, no, I feel like it's definitely a don't talk to me. I've got this shirt, and this is my shirt.
I hate
don't talk to me.
But I don't feel like throwing it away. Like, what do you do with a shirt like this? Don't you just
well, when you get another girlfriend or significant other, you have them wear it when they come over, so they don't have to leave a toothbrush or whatever. They don't have to leave clothing behind.
Girls like big shirts.
Yeah.
It's a thing. Okay. As though I'm going to ever date someone again.
You never know.
Kind of certain.
Yes. Well, I mean, never say never. I definitely went for... I stopped seeing people in LA. I feel like it is a tough... Like, you can go out and get laid, and that's not a big deal, but, like, actual cognitive humans, that's a tough one sometimes. Even though I have great friends there, I mean, I think there's a huge difference. Like, you can become friends with people.
Yeah.
Men and women and all kinds of stuff, but, like, people are just weird about relationships when it comes to Los Angeles.
It really does feel that way. And maybe that's a good thing, honestly. Like,
it is. The second, like you know this when you get a partner and you live in LA, you're focused on that relationship, not on your career. And everybody's focused on their career, so you just spin your wheels because you don't put in the extra time to.
It's true. Not to get all biblical about it, but you can't serve two masters. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Your artistic world immediately disappears.
Are
you gonna stream your movie?
Yeah. So, yeah, the plan there. I was gonna do this thing where. Hold on, just a second. Let me do this. I was gonna do this thing where. I wonder why that's not working. I don't actually know if we're streaming right now or not.
I don't know.
It probably just hasn't updated. Yeah, so the plan is once the show is finished. Ooh, check this out. I got a candle.
What's it say, Mary Poppins?
Yeah, it's by Jove, it's been practically perfect. Jolly holidaying with you. Break a leg. Admiral Book. That's the character's name. John, and I'm gonna mispronounce his last name, but it's Bachita Jr. And so I've been hanging out with this dude. You know, we don't have any scenes together, but we're like right next to each other, and we just sort of vibe. You know, negative people.
Yeah,
realistic people is what I like to say. But no, John's awesome, and he's in the Guinness Book of World Records as the fastest talker that is still intelligible. He was for a long time, and turns out this guy's like famous. Like I'm like hanging out with him, and he's like, "Oh yeah, this and this and this," and you know, mentions some stuff, and I'm like, "Wait a minute, like, what have you done, dude?" And he's done all these things, you know. He was I haven't seen the commercial, but he apparently got his start from this FedEx commercial. It's like the most famous commercial there is, or something. Anyway, he gave me a candle, and I was like, "That's cool." So
yeah, it's way cool. I feel like so he's not the Micro Machines guy.
I don't know.
You remember the Micro Machines? He's like a Luigi looking. Yeah, he looks kind of like Luigi from Mario.
Perhaps. I mean, you know, Micro Machines.
But I mean,
that was a long.
He'd be
time.
older. He'd be old. This is like 30 years, 40 years later. You know?
Yeah, this dude's like 70.
Yeah, so yeah, he could be the same guy because he was in all of the commercials in the 80s, early 80s.
Let's see.
Which would be before your millennial time.
Yeah, it's John Machida. It's the same guy.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
He's Micro Machines guy. What?
That's cool.
Dude. Hold on. What?
Yeah, he's been on a ton of stuff. That's way cool. Does he still talk as fast? Is he?
Oh, he can do it. Yeah, every so often I'll be like, "Yo, what's up?" And motor mouth is what it's called. What? He's the Micro Machines guy.
Maybe he'll teach you.
Blew my fucking mind.
Yeah.
He told me about some of the stuff. He played Blur in the Transformers movie.
Yeah, I remember that.
Blur
was not. You could not tell what Blur was saying. It was done in such a way that Blur was literally not. Even as a kid, when I watched it, when I was finished with crying about Optimus Prime, I definitely.
Yeah. So it says he could articulate 586 words in a minute. I think for 10 minutes, and. His record was broken, but and he contested. One of the reasons is he was like, when he did it, it had to be intelligible. Like you had to be able to actually understand it. Whereas the ones that broke it, they're phonating. Is that the right word? The words,
right?
But they're not necessarily intelligible words. So whatever.
Yeah.
The FedEx commercial is the thing. It's called "That's Incredible." And apparently it won like awards, and John was like, yeah, I did this commercial and then it blew up and I got famous. He was like, I had no clue that was going
to. I vaguely remember the FedEx commercial, but I was not like the market.
Yeah, I mean, we were extremely young. I mean, but the Micro Machines guy, that blows my mind, because like that is iconic.
Yeah,
for me anyway.
For us, for our generation.
I remember trying to do the Micro Machines thing that he did and being like, how does he even do that?
Yeah.
What? That is amazing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'm gonna talk to him tonight.
I also have a candle. I mean, if we're on a candle thing.
Yeah, it's a candle thing.
My candle is pretty cool. It says, here's the candle, and it says protection from internet trolls.
Let me see.
On it.
Oh, that's cool. I love it. It's got the hand.
Just don't talk. Yeah, it's got the little hand.
Is that a left hand? That's a left hand, right? Yeah, when do you burn the candles is the question.
I don't know. I've never burned it. I also have a couple other things you might be interested in. I've got this weird book called Falling Asleep.
What's that about?
And I don't know.
Have you actually read it?
I think I wrote once. It was pretty good. And I also have this.
Have you actually? Oh yeah, that one. Yeah, what's that?
But yeah, I did read it. It's been a minute, and it's not a long read.
No.
It's pretty short.
No, it's pretty short.
I feel like I read it in the course of like the sitting.
Yeah, it's really just a short story. So my idea was, actually, the plan I have for falling asleep. I have 2 more projects that are actual. They were novellas, but as I've been adding to them, I think they're going to be actual books. Like maybe, what is it, 20... I'm sorry, what am I thinking? Like 50,000 words. One of them might be more of a novella, but there's going to be sort of a continuation of it. I haven't messed with that stuff in a while, though. John said you just light the candle whenever you want. He's like, yeah, you light a candle when you want.
Yeah. Well, you wanted to light it, so that's when you light it. I feel like I've not been canceled yet, so I need to wait until...
Right. Then you'll light a candle?
I'll light a candle.
That's a good move.
For whatever that is. But first, I think that I need some followers. And then to get followers, I would need to post more than the Geeky Gamer podcast. I think that's the only time I post.
I mean, it's like reaching an audience, but I think our mentality is just dated. Because, like, when social media came out, right? YouTube aristocracy, all that stuff. Which that in and of itself would be an interesting topic. If a video got popular, it was sort of widespread popular. You know, it's like, this is the origination of memes, but like I learned about all these things like viral video type stuff because someone else told me about it, like face to face. They're like, hey, they'd pull out their computer and be like, hey, watch this. Like it was a very physical type thing.
Absolutely.
So there's a target audience type situation going on because it's between friend groups, but it's not mass commercialized propagation, right? Like no one's paying for ads for their videos.
Sure.
Instead, it was very organic, and they just put their stuff out there, and it either latched on or it didn't, right? Whereas now, I think, I don't want to speak for you, but I know for myself, I still have that mentality where it's like, oh, I've got my song, I'm gonna put it out there, and we'll see who likes it. But that's not what goes on right now. Like the stuff that's popular, people aren't doing that.
Yeah, you know, it's true.
It's very targeted.
Yeah, So anyway, I gotta go.
Okay.
I got the fancy dinner I'm going to, and clearly I don't. Me and my 9 Inch Nails shirt, we're not fancy enough.
No.
For dinner. So yeah, we're gonna hit that. But it's good to talk to you. I feel like we need to check in again soon, and enjoy your stream.
Thanks.
And the folding of the laundry.
Laundry folding. Right on, man. We'll have a good dinner.
All right.
Peace.
Cheers.
And that was Ken Hell. Jumping on, man. If you want to jump on, you let me know. Load this back up. Yeah, micro machines. What? Kind of want to check out this commercial now. Let's see if I can do that. I'll do this. Actually, that's not what I want to do at all. Let's see. Boom. Let me see if I can find the FedEx commercial. Known originally as FedEx, the fast-paced world is what it's called. Fast-paced world. FedEx commercial. I've been actually wanting to watch this. Dude, I've seen this commercial. I have absolutely seen this commercial. Alright, let me turn the music off real quick. What? It's wild. It's wild to see these things. Okay, let me load this.
Okay, unit.
Dude. Let me move my my camera too. Can I do that? That's not what I want. There we go. Put myself over here. Actually, why don't I just make this large? Yeah, like that. Okay, so this is John back in 1976. And we'll see if I can make this work. Oh, wait. Curses. No. I don't know how to use my own computer. Curses. When you go to full screen, it does like these weird things. Okay. Check this out.
Okay, units, travel plans. I need to be in New York on Monday, LA on Tuesday, New York on Wednesday, LA on Thursday, New York on Friday. Got it? Got it. So you want to work here? What really makes you think you deserve a job here?
Well, sir, I think on my feet I'm good at figures and I have a sharp mind.
Excellent. Can you start on Monday?
Yes, sir, absolutely, without hesitation.
Congratulations. Welcome aboard. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And in conclusion, Jim, Bill, Bob, Call, Fred, Load, Dork, 8 up and 10. Business is business. And as we all know, in order to get something done, you got to do something. In order to do something, we got to get to work. So let's get to work. Thank you for taking me. Petey, you did a bang-up job. I'm putting you in charge of Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh. I know it's perfect, Peter. That's why I picked Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's perfect. Peter, may I call you Pete?
Call me Pete.
Pete.
There's a Mr. Schnittler here to see you.
Tell him to wait 15 seconds.
Can you wait 15 seconds?
I'll wait 15 seconds.
Congratulations on your deal in Denver, Dave. I'm putting you down to deal with Dallas. Don, is it a deal? Do we have a deal? It's a deal. I got to go. I got a call coming in. Hi, Doc. Just tell it Don.
In this fast-moving, high-pressure, get-it-done-yesterday world, aren't you glad there's one company that can keep up with it all?
You got a deal. Good. I'm putting you down to deal with Dick. Dick, what's the deal with the deal? Are we dealing? We're dealing. Dave, it's a deal with Don, Doc, and Dick. Doc, it's a deal with Dave, Dick, and Dave. Don, it's a doc with Dick, Dave, and Doug. Gotta go, Dave. Disconnecting. Gotta go, Dick. Disconnecting. Gotta go, Dan. Disconnecting.
Federal Express. But it absolutely, positively has to be there overnight.
Whoa. Whoa. That is awesome. You can see that I like 40K. So that's John. Like, I'm straight up acting with this dude right now. That is wild. That's something that's, I talk a lot about, I whinge a lot about Los Angeles. There's a lot to whinge about, but there is also a lot of positive stuff. And one of the positive things is not just meeting famous people, but getting a job. You know, I'm doing this community theater gig, unpaid, right, of Mary Poppins. And several of the cast are extremely well known. You know, they have just these awesome resumes. And the rest of the people that are not well known, it's because they haven't been alive as long. Like these are professionals. They're so good. And I mean, talk about some imposter syndrome. You're just kind of chilling out like, oh, you actually know what you're doing. Right. And that's cool. And you can find that in other places, I'm sure, but that is one thing about LA is you really never know who you're talking to. Now, what does that matter? I think it matters in the sense of there's a feeling of legitimacy. You know, acting professionally, excuse me, acting professionally, I think part of it is acting with professionals. You know, doing stuff that professionals are doing, right? And also learning from them. I mean, like seeing what they're doing on stage and how they're, for lack of a better word, their process, what they're doing behind the scenes. You know, just how they conduct themselves and the choices they make. It's been a very, I mean, every production I've been in, I've learned a lot from the Hollywood Fringe Festival, where it was very DIY, you know, we made this at home type situation. And yet I learned a vast amount when it comes to the craft and putting on a show and collaborating. Anyway, I'm ranting. And streaming it. Yeah. Anyway, that blows my mind. So I want to see the Micro Machines thing just because that is wild. Like, John told me this stuff, and I was like, right, cool, I'll watch that, you know. Just to, you know, why not, like, read someone's script, like, watch what they've been in, etc. But I remember this commercial, not when it came out, of course, but I remember seeing it. It's blows my mind. Micro Machines is what I want. Micro Machines commercial. This was a little before my time, but I remember it. It was absolutely in syndication. What? This is like old school my childhood. This is crazy. No way. Okay, hold on. Have I watched it?
The place that's to play with, and each one comes with its own. This is the Micro Machine Man, presenting the most miniature motorcade of Micro Machines. Each one has dramatic details, terrific trim, precision paint jobs, plus incredible Micro Machine pocket playsets. There's a police station, fire station, restaurant, service station, and more. Perfect pocket portables to take any place. And there are many miniature playsets to play with, and each one comes with its own special edition Micro Machine vehicle and fun, fantastic features that miraculously move. Raise the boat lift at the airport marina, man the gun turret at the army base, clean your car at the car wash, raise the toll bridge. And these playsets fit together to form a Micro Machine world. Micro Machine pocket playsets, so tremendously tiny, so perfectly precise, so dazzlingly detailed, you'll want to pocket them all. Micro Machines and Micro Machine pocket playsets sold separately from Galoob. The smaller they are, the better they are.
Dude. I remember that commercial. I remember trying to catch up and just not being able to do it. And this is how I know John.
To be or not to be, that is the question whether it is noble in the mind to suffer the stings and hours of our just fortune to consequence to see of troubles and by posing in them to die to sleep pretends to dream. You get the idea.
The Micro Machine Man here, presenting the genuine, original, colossally flexible, most miniature replicas of the real things. Micro Machines.
A lot of people know me as the Micro Machine Man, or the FedEx guy, or Terrible Testaverde from Saved by the Bell, or just that guy who talks fast. In fact, I was in the Guinness Book as the world's fastest talker, and so, for the last 40 years, if you needed a fast talker, I was your go-to guy. Is that okay? Did you get everything you need? I mean, I can repeat it again if you want. You sure you don't want me to do it again? Because I can do it again. No, just do another take for you because I want to see everything. When I was 12 years old, I wanted to get into the Guinness Book of World Records. So I figured the only thing I could really do, since I wasn't going to eat a car or swallow lead pipe, was to lock myself in a room and teach myself fast talking. And I did that with the Hamlet soliloquy. To be or not to be, that is to be or not to be, that is to be or not to be, that is the question whether Years later, I'm at this party, fancy California Beverly Hills party, and a friend of mine is trying to pick up this Valley girl. He's from New York and talking pretty quickly, and she looks at him and says,
So John literally told me this story. Like, this is a true story, for sure. Because he told it to me like 3 days ago.
like, oh my gosh, are you like the world's fastest talker? And he says, no, as a matter of fact, this person is. They called me over and I did one of my little party routines. And a guy walked over and he says, that's incredible. I'm a producer and I'm going to put you on a show. I went on the show and I did the fast talking thinking that would be it. And all of a sudden the phone starts ringing. I'm booked all over the place and I managed to make a living out of it. I can speak as fast as 11 words a second. Now, I never do 11 words a second for TV, but let me do Peter Piper at 11 words a second. Then you kind of hear me going pa, but that's really all you're kind of getting. But when you do TV, there's visual reinforcement. People see you and do whatever, so I do about 7 to 8 words a second. That would sound something like Now on radio, I have to do it even a little slower because you have no visual reinforcement, you're not seeing me. So then I do about 5 to 6 words a second. So it sounds something like and that's kind of the secret to my success, because if you can't understand what I'm saying, they're not gonna pay me the big bucks.
Whoa.
Now, the very first commercial I did was the Federal Express commercial. It is, to this day, the most award-winning commercial in the history of advertising. The final scene, I'm sitting behind a desk, and I'm going, Dave, what's the deal? What the deal are we dealing? Dave, it's a deal with Don. If it's a deal with Doc.
The deal, good. I'm putting you down to deal with Dick. Dick, what's the deal?
So I did the thing like 29 times without making a mistake. And the director said to me, what are you, like a machine? You never make a mistake? I said, you want a mistake? I'll give you a mistake the next time. So I said, Dave, it's a dork with Dick, Don, and Duck. And that's the take he ended up putting in the commercial.
It's a deal with Dave, Dick, and Dave. Don, it's a dork with Dick, Dave, and Dick. Don, it's a dork with Dick, Dave, and Dick.
The first time I saw it, I called him and said, John, it's our little secret. Although I'm known as the world's fastest talker, I do not choose to live my entire life in the fast lane. Sometimes I just like to take it all a little slower. But sometimes it's really, really good to be fast.
It looks like that's easy to do. It looks like that's like what he did in that sort of biopic. It seems natural, and it seems like, I could do that. That is so hard to pull off. Like that last scene there. It takes so much control to do. And just as an example, you see someone in a very candid situation, like what we're doing right now. And, there's pauses, there's what ifs, there's lots and lots of gesticulations. The dude's just a professional. He's just got it, man. And that doesn't mean that, for example, the inner voice, the inner will voice might say, but you don't. That's the parenthetical. He's got it and you don't. It's kind of the inner monologue. But it's not about that. I'm not trying to go in that direction. I'm trying to say, what is it, the Dunning-Kruger? That may not be where I'm really going with this. I'm trying to say that there's a lot of skill to hone. It's just impressive. It's impressive. It makes me proud to be working with the guy. And then also looking, it causes me, at least, I'm going to say you, the ever impersonal and universal you, it makes you look at other people in a different light too, right? Like I've been seeing some of these actors on stage, on the Mary Poppins stage. You know, when I'm backstage, we're like rushing around trying to change costumes and sweating our balls off, just because the show is so energetic. Like you're just walk off stage and then start to breathe, you know? We have these monitors in the back where we can actually see the show. Mind you, this is community theater. Like, the production is so good. It blows my mind how good it is. At any rate, so we're back there and I'm watching these fellas and ladies and thinking, man, they're really going for it. But like, to be able to do what seems like the simplest thing, you know, not fidget, be on your mark without looking for your mark. Just the very basic stuff. Really profound. Yeah. I'm learning a whole lot from this production. And from people that, you know, some of whom are much older than me, you know, like in their 60s, 70s. Several of whom are a lot younger than me, who are like turning 20, you know, turning 24 or something. And I'm like, wow, like consummate professionals. You know, not in every little way. They can learn a lot from other people too, but I'm definitely learning a lot. Awesome. There's all that. I actually don't know if I'm streaming at all, to be completely honest with you. If I am, I hope you dig it. If I'm not, I still hope you dig it. Let's see. So yeah, we have another performance tonight. The performances are Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and 2 on Saturday. So it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's 5 a week. And got one tonight, and then 2 more weekends. So it's a pretty good number of shows, which that it is in front of me right now feels a little daunting. It's like, wow, there's so, that Saturday is 2 shows in a day is, I haven't figured out, I mean, we pulled it off yet last night, right? Like I was able to do it, no problem, give it energy, etc. Although I'll be honest, there were moments that I was like, I have to steel myself. You know, if the crowd isn't quite giving you what you want, if I'm about to go on and I'm like, all right, I gotta manifest this energy or whatever, pull some Michael Chekhov poses real quick. How to pace oneself and give it full bore or go full bore. So one of the numbers is supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, right? And I would argue it's not the most demanding number. I think the step-in time, personally, is the most demanding because it's just extremely physical, and you're singing, right? Super Cal, like you get a little bit out of breath, but the thing about it, the very difficult thing about it is the energy has got to be like elevated and then exponentially so. Like it's so bright and you're going bright and you need to go brighter. That's the exhausting part about it. And how do you pace yourself and yet still do that? Right? Like how is that? What's that technique? Do you just need to run like a 5K prior to, you know? Like you gotta like train that marathon? Like what actually is the deal? If anybody has ideas on that, please let me know. Let me see. I'm gonna pop over here real quick and just make sure that I'm actually... Okay, so I am streaming. Good. Excellent. Excellent. Right, so... How do you pace yourself? And you know, I know this channel is primarily about, like, tabletop role-playing games and specifically live plays of that. But, you know, as I've been doing this channel for the last few years, you know, we started with D&D, 5th edition. And, you know, that got some views and whatnot. Basically tried to do a critical role type situation. And, you know, obviously didn't achieve that. But it was one of those situations where it's like, okay, well, we're going to be playing anyway. And it will help my psyche to be building something that sort of shares with other people. And it gives energy to the group as well. And practice in just doing the tech for other projects. You know, there's a lot of synergy going on, which is what I like to do. But I think we kind of got off track a little bit because it was like, well, we're doing this streaming expecting a result, and when you don't get the result, then the obvious question is, why are you doing the streaming? And if that continues, then you stop doing it, and then you're not doing anything, right? So it became, well, we need to focus on Dreadlore because that's the game I literally created. So why am I streaming Dungeons and Dragons? Like, they don't need any more press. Like, I want people to play Dreadlore, right? And, you know, the dream is to make a ton of money off of it and be able to do what I want. That's the dream, right? In like all endeavors, right? But is that the value of it? Is that why you're doing it? Because if that's it, then it's just a business. And it's kind of a shitty business. You know, what is a good business? A good business is, barring ethics, that conversation, a good business is one which makes profit. And if it's not, then it's not really a good business, right? I'm not talking about being an endeavor or the ethics or any of that stuff, just business, cold and hard. So there's this like feedback loop that starts. When things they're started because you love to do them, because you want to see what you can do with it. And there's this other side where it's like, well, you want to get rich and famous off of it. This is going to get back to acting and Dreadlore and all these things. You want to get rich and famous off of it, obviously. Why not? Or at least the endeavor to become popular. But then if one is not careful, then that almost consumes the entire endeavor and then can kill it. So it became, we started doing Dreadlore, and we did, you know, Into Space, this campaign, space campaign, a setting that really is system agnostic. You could run it in D&D if you wanted, but we were running it in Dreadlore. The splats on dreadlore.com, by the way, as in the setting material. Anyway, and we also concurrently did The Red Writ, which is a modern, like in the 1980s, horror mystery, murder mystery type situation that dealt with the supernatural. And we streamed a lot that way and had very few viewers. You know, I think now, I don't know how many views the most video has, but it's like in the hundreds. Maybe 1,000, maybe, right? And the thing is that gives you an extra metric to beat yourself up over. Because I think the Red Writ as a campaign was rather successful, and Into Space was too. There was some drama, as there always is with gaming groups. But as stories, they were really cool stories. Not always making sense as tabletop role-playing games go, but the characters were so interesting. The roleplay was very good. Massively cool decisions in those games. Lots of burnout, right, on the players' end. I mean, we were streaming at that point. We went from Richmond Fay, which is D&D, through the Red Ret and Into Space. I think we gamed consistently 3 or 4 years. I mean, like, the same group. Relatively the same group. So what does that leave with streaming? You know, like, what's the endeavor supposed to be? You want to keep streaming because you want to keep on putting out a product. Because the moment you stop doing that, you kind of fall out of relevance. Even when you have a very low viewership, if you're not doing anything, then you're not going to gain viewers. You see, again, it gets back into this, you want to get rich and famous, but that's really not the endeavor, but it starts driving the endeavor. It's like, oh, we need to get some players who really want to get rich and famous, you know, who are really interested in this and this and this. We need to we need to start paying ads. How do we target our audience? But that entire conversation is a marketing thing. That's about marketing. That's about business. And it feels like, I should say, it has nothing really to do with the product. Because in reality, there is no product. There's just the endeavor. You know? Like, a product is sold. This is an endeavor, call it art, if you will, if we want to go high-minded. We're sharing. And if no one watches it, no one watches it. Okay. Does that invalidate or devalue the endeavor? I think someone says, well, if you love it, so you do it. That's a hobby, is it not? I don't know. Why in 2026 do we feel this need, do I feel this need to share these candid moments? The candid moment of live streaming our games, or live streaming a brainstorm. You know? Like, that's part of the culture. And what's the goal? Because I can have this conversation with myself, and likely am right now. It's just with a megaphone to see if anybody's listening. But I often do. I talk to myself all the time. This is extremely natural, right? But why stream it? As Ken mentioned, like, what's kind of the point? Isn't it on the chance to connect with someone? I think that's it. Like, obviously I want to look at the stream and be like, holy shit, 100,000 people are watching this. That would be kind of weird, to be honest with you. But, ooh, and they're giving me money or something. You know, there's ads. Oh, that AdSense money. Whatever. And then that promotes an idea of, oh, I should do this because this is something I can do. There's a success to it. Yeah, it's there, but to get on the chat and see like a bunch of trolls and you're still getting the AdSense, versus get on the chat and see like you're not making any money, but there's like 2 or 3 people that are vibing. Which one would you prefer? More importantly, because I'm doing this, which one would I prefer? To have a connection with someone, I don't know how this would brighten someone's day, but maybe give them an idea. Or to be a cartoon online that happens to make cash. I side with the first one. And maybe that's a reason that I haven't been monetarily successful in many of these, actually in any of these endeavors. You know, Dreadlore, music with Bill Buncombe, chess with Bill, acting, the various bands, which are all basically the same band. You know, For Stella, Intrepid Adventurers got kicked off Spotify with that one. Penguin. I think we were doing the endeavors in and of themselves. And, you know, we're putting the posters up and trying to reach out and get people to know who we were, but never really acting like it was a business. And, of course, the catch-22 there is, as high-minded as I might like to think of myself, as like keeping it real, if you will, nobody knows our names. Everything I just mentioned, likely, no one has heard. They don't know what it is. Even if it is technically out there, you know, in the internet atmosphere, no one knows it. So does that, you know, it reminds me of sort of like the tree falls in the forest. Is there a sound situation? Like, did it matter? And this gets into an entirely different, another tangent of credit where credit's due, of the desire for acclaim, the desire for acknowledgement, right? Which I think is sort of a subset of vanity. Yeah? Like, as an example, you're in your apartment, your flat, whatever, and you take out the trash, or you sweep the floor, you sweep the kitchen, or you refill the water thing, whatever. And no one notices. And there's this thought that might arise of, I wonder if someone noticed that I cleaned up. But the fact is, the cleanup needed to happen, and you did it because it needed to happen. So someone giving you a pat on the back, how does that change things? That acknowledgement. And yet, still having that vanity of wanting it. You see the thing that I'm drawing here? Like, to make a really cool art, to make an art that touches whomever's there, one person, 300 people that come to the show, and it's never spoken about it again, right? There's the thought of, well, we did it, now what? Like, you want something, you want the acknowledgement from it, right? Maybe I'm mixing apples and oranges here. Well, apples and oranges here. But there seems to be a connection there. And I'm on the fence about it is the thing. Like, half the time I'm like, well, you do the art because you do the art, right? Like, you only have so many beats of your heart. You only have so many breaths. How do you use those? Because that's actually all that matters. The flip side is, right, but you want to be doing things that improve your life, that allow you to do more of that stuff on a bigger scale and on a grander scale, and I don't know. Is there even a balance? I got no idea. Thoughts? Okay. So what I'm gonna do, I'm not gonna show you that because that's silly. Where'd this music go? I'm gonna play some more of this The Italian Lute by Brilliant Classics. I'm gonna refill my coffee and I'll be right back. Meanwhile, and check out this awesome candle. Don't do this at home. Yeah, boy. Get my sage on. Now, I am no witch, and I'm not purporting people should be. But I dated a witch. Many moons ago. Many moons ago. Also, sage just smells good. Hopefully the fire alarm doesn't go off. In this mirror. Get my windows. I got some Palo Santo as well. Dude, the spider web's what? I use one of these, one of those, oh, what are they called? It's like, it's the jelly that you can get at like Ralph's or Kroger or whatever, that it's all natural preserves. I forget the name of it. It's not Aunt Jemima. That's what's in my head. It's like Auntie Sally or something like this. Anyway, I use the lids. They're made of metal. They're made of metal. You can use them for, you know, containers. I mean, this is not profound, but also to put out candles. We repurposed things back in the day. And if you were to see the rest of the room, my roommates make fun of me because they're like, you have so many boxes. Why do you keep these jars and boxes? I'm like, you might need them. Anyway. So I had some other thoughts. I got a little bit of time before I need to get ready for the show tonight. This show. You know, I guess I should post a link to the show since I've been talking about it so much. In the event that you're in the Los Angeles area, you could go to one of the shows. Let me see if I can find the link. La Crescenta. It's at Highlands Theater in La Crescenta. So bright. Let's see. Here we go. Yep. In the event. In the event you're interested. There you go. Obviously, if you're not anywhere near here, then it's probably not the best place to. You know what I'm trying to say, Lord. Right. That blows my mind about John. And he told me, John Machida, like, I saw those commercials as a kid. The FedEx one, I remember seeing. Obviously, it was an old commercial when I saw it because I wasn't alive then. But the Micro Machines one, like I was a child, and I remember seeing it probably late '80s, maybe early '90s, because I'm 1,000 years old. That blows my mind. I'm gonna have to talk to him about it. It's interesting too, because he looks different, but this is such an obvious thing I'm about to say. He looks so different, but he looks completely the same. It's interesting. Makes you wonder how you're gonna look as you know you age. You know, I'm at a point in my life where I am, as my mother would say, I'm no spring chicken. But I'm also not old. I don't want to use that as a pejorative term by any stretch. You know, none of us really want to be old, right? One of the things that I'm trying to keep my focus, let me use this candle real quick. One of the things that I've been dealing with, and this is not profound, everyone has to deal with it, is age, right? Your body changing. You know, your hair going the way of the dodo, if you're lucky like me. Getting wrinkles and stuff. You know, looking at yourself and being like, is my head getting fatter? What? And that's not gonna stop, right? Like, you start going gray, and it's this idea that, you know, looking more and more like a vampire. your body changing and you don't have control over it and it's natural. Like, why rebel against what is natural? Like, you're going to change so long as you keep healthy. Maybe go out in the sun every so often. The sun's evil. I guess in realizing that you're not gonna live forever. In The Sandman, Neil Gaiman, his story, there's the story of, I forget the guy's name, but he's like this yeoman from 1300 or 1200 AD, BCE, if you will. CE? CE. AD, CE. Right. Common Era is what I'm trying to say. Anyway, and one of the things about him is he's sitting there talking and he's like, why do people have to die? Like, I don't get it. Like, I'm just gonna say that I'm not gonna die. How about that? Right? And so, of course, Dream comes over and he's like, I think death brings Dream over. And they make a deal. It's essentially Death trying to, get her brother, Dream, to kind of have a relationship, to understand his actual place in the world through the eyes of a mortal. At any rate, that mortal is then made effectively immortal because death won't take him. And he lives, through these ages of strife, of plenty, all over the place. And in the end, when Morpheus or when Dream is kind of like the last time he talks to him, because he sees him like every 100 years or something. I believe he asks the guy, so you think it's worth it? Living this entire time, eternally. And the guy's like, yeah, duh. And low-key, like, even before I read most of The Sandman, I had this thought of like, why admit mortality? Like, if it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen, right? I mean, you can't, if you die by violence or whatever, or illness. But when it comes to death by just being old, whatever's natural is gonna happen, whether I believe it or not. So why ruminate so much on it, right? Again, on the fence about these things. Like, there's this carpe diem of seize the day as though it's your last. Because it could be your last. I think the flaw in that, though, is if you truly act like today is your last day, with the caveat that you're not going to be an asshole. Like, you're still going to maintain, sort of a stoic mindset. Like, you still are a human. You still should conduct yourself in a good way. Good way. Aren't you going to spend most of your cash? Right? Like, aren't you going to do things that, if tomorrow doesn't matter, then you don't consider tomorrow? I think there's an issue of, you can seize the day, but you still have to consider that, well, yeah, but you might actually be around tomorrow too. Like, carpe diem to the fullest extent is pretty reckless if you have another day coming along. At the same time, you're not going to live forever. So that gives you this feeling of, or gives me this feeling of, I don't want to lose time and then be too old or too depraved or whatever you want to call it to do what I want. Just as an example of that, so I'm in my 40s, right? And while I don't look like it to most people, it's interesting though, kids, there's a lot of kids in the show. So like to 10, 15-year-olds, I could look like I'm 80, right? Like they're like, you're extremely old. So it is a matter of perspective. And then to the people who are in their 60s and 70s, they're like, you're a child. I'm like, oh. I'm losing my train of thought. But to go back onto the restless thing, I'm in my 40s, and I think, as Ken and I mentioned earlier, the idea of dating in Los Angeles, which is like a whole thing, apparently. I am relatively straight, so I'm usually looking for, women, or like a woman. And women that are in their 40s are usually in a different place than I am, right? They may not be, but a lot of times they've either had families or they are actively having families. They have careers that they're excelling at a lot of times. And I sometimes feel like my mentality is that of a guy in his late 20s. It's like sort of in stasis. It's not actually. Because I can look at other people, other guys that are in their 20s, and I'm like, we're not the same. But when it comes to the mentality of dating, like, why are you doing it in the first place? Is it to have a family? Well, that's not what I'm doing. I think John Cena, am I getting that name right? Was talking about why he didn't have a family. Am I just butchering the dude's name? Let me look it up. I'm gonna feel kind of silly if I think it's John Cena. I don't know how to spell it. Cena. Yeah, John Cena. Yeah, pro wrestler dude and actor. So John Cena, he has this this interview where he's asked, what about a family? And he's like, look, what I'm trying to do, if I try to do this acting thing and have a child, I'm not going to be a good dad. I'm not going to be a good parent. Or I'm not going to be good at what I'm doing. Like it's either or. And I'm in the similar boat. I mean, I have been for a long time. Like, I have these endeavors, and what I want from those endeavors outweighs how much I want to propagate my genetics. There is within me a desire, a growing desire. I don't mean like quickly, but I've noticed as I've aged, a feeling of, do I want a son or a daughter? As in, either or. Do I want a child? And the thought has crossed my mind several times, I could do that. And I think that marriage plays a good role in that. The confines of a marriage, I think, is good for rearing children and owning property and all that, whatever. And so I could see myself buying into that, but I wonder, is that just genetics? Is that just biology? Like, yo, dude, you gonna die, hurry up. Is it peer pressure? The realization that, again, going back to my peers, people that are in their middle, late 30s, 40s, that are women, what they're doing isn't what I'm doing. Like, they're building these families, and then you look at people that are actually older than you and you see how that plays out. You know, you don't have kids, eventually you're alone. Because when you're in your 40s, 30s and 40s, people are so bound up in their careers and in their marriages or their kids, which is good. They're not really interested in making friends. They don't have time for it. They don't have the bandwidth for it. They become very cutthroat, actually. Like, the moment you kind of mess with their situation, impose on them, they cut you out, is what actually happens. Before that, society kind of puts you in a petri dish of sorts for making new contacts and friends. You're starting jobs, you're in school, you're starting out life, you know, different groups. And it's very easy to make friends. But when you get older, it's really not. And partly because nobody really cares to be your friend and to put that effort in. They already have their friends. If you think about it, it almost seems rather myopic, right? For people to be that way. But it is, and it doesn't end. I've noticed when I look at people that are a little bit older, in the 50s or 60s, yeah, they still go out with their friends. They're still open to making friends here and there, but more and more they know who they are, especially women in their 50s. Like, they become very comfortable with themselves, I've noticed. I'm speaking very generally, obviously. This isn't a blanket statement. And if you don't fall within that scope, they have no use for you. Same thing with guys. I think that guys go nuts in their 40s and 50s because suddenly they're like, oh, I'm not in my 20s. I think the midlife crisis really hits dudes at that point. And then they're just assholes. Like even more assholes than normal. To go along with this, I see people in their twilight years, 60s and 70s, they're dealing with either real health problems, you know, that stymies any kind of relationship, or their friends are dead or whatever. I'm not trying to be depressing, but it's a part of it. So if you don't have children, you don't have a family. My grandmother told me this once, long time ago. Actually, it was a long time ago. I say that a little ironically, but it actually was. It was a long time ago. It was like 30 years ago. I was sitting there in her sort of parlor. This is maybe just a couple years before her health really declined and, you know, Alzheimer's kicked in and all that stuff. So I was really happy to have this conversation with her. She was in her 80s, and which to me was just grandma, you know, because I had no perspective. I just stopped by on a whim to talk to her. I'm really glad I did, because this is a seminal moment. Like, I remember this conversation, among a few others, this conversation that just happened, right? And she was telling me about being, going to school. She came from kind of nothing in Kentucky. And you know, this is back like in the day, like 40s, 30s or 40s, which, putting in perspective, this is World War II, right? There were actually domestic passenger trains. Blows my mind. Anyway, so she went off to school. Her parents were paying for it. They were putting everything into it. And of course, school was not what it is now. Like, you know, it doesn't cost you $20,000, $40,000 a semester like it costed like $100, like $50, right? Like for real. Anyway, she's going off and she came back and her grades had slipped. And this is not a super interesting story, but I remember it. Her dad telling her, look, we're not sending you to school for nothing. Like, if you don't have good grades, you're coming home. And she's telling me all these just various tidbits, boring stuff, to be honest. But I was fascinated by it because it was this person, you know, it was my grandmother, right? You only get a couple. Telling me this story that I somehow was able to realize that while other people knew this information, maybe they don't. Like, the people that would have known it are dead. And the people that did know it likely didn't pay attention to it because it's boring stuff. It's just sort of this happened and here's some anecdotal trivia, right? I was thinking, you know, this is important enough for her to tell me. And I think I'm gonna be the only person that knows this. There's no one else in this room. Like, this is me and her. And I really don't know how long she's gonna be around. And I mean, within a year or two. Like, her mind was going and she was paying attention to stuff that had nothing to do with these interesting stories. They become even more interesting. It's painting a perspective of the past. You know, a very lived experience. Anyway, what my point is of all this, you know, my grandmother obviously had kids. Hi, I'm around. But had she not, who had she been talking to? And she would have been talking to a 15-year-old, 16-year-old or something. Being like 85 years old. Like, if you put it into perspective. It's pretty wild. My other grandmother, I had a conversation with her. She was probably late 80s or early 90s. My grandmother's lived quite a while. Men, not so much. But she was telling me, you know, unironically and not in a macabre, well, no, in a very macabre sense, but not in a depressed sense. She was telling me about how she was perfectly fine dying. You know, I think she was like 91, 92. And she was like, yeah, I'm totally fine dying. And I was like, what? Do I need to call the helpline? Like, not to make that a joke, because it's not a joke. The new movie, by the way, Needle in the Hay, is all about suicide prevention. Go to needleinthehayfilm.com. Anyway. Yeah, she said that, and she was like, yeah, I'm perfectly fine dying. I know where I'm going, all that whole bit, which, of course, I don't subscribe to that, but it just seemed kind of sad to me. I was like, what do you mean? Like, you're in fairly good health. You're not in pain. You can get around. You actually do have some friends. Like, you go to church and you talk to people, and people come visit you all the time, and you have us. Hi. Like, isn't there stuff you want to read? Like, or sew, or like, I know she was a musician, not professionally, but aren't there songs you want to write? Isn't there stuff you want to know? Because there's a shitload of stuff I want to know. I know that she's old, or at the time was old enough to where she's like, I don't want to go travel because she can't travel. Which, that thought to me, I don't want to get to that point, you know, like, But at any rate, she was kind of a homebody. And I asked her, I was like, why are you okay dying? What's the deal? Because that just kind of blows my mind. And her response was, in my grandmother's way, very apt. It was obvious and for me, a little depressing, but maybe not for her. She was like, I'm 92, 91, whatever. Whatever. Everyone I know is a child. And I was like, what? And she goes, everyone I know is 20 years younger than me. Think about that. You had gone through school. Maybe you got a degree. You're going to bars, perhaps. You were going on dates, living life, having started your career or whatever. And your closest friend was born then. Not like I am right now, where I'm in this cast of Mary Poppins, where several of the people are quite a bit younger than me. You know, I think one just turned 20. There's a whole range in the show. Huge range, actually. It's pretty cool. But like, I could literally be the parent of a couple of the people in the show. And we're peers in this show, right? Like, absolutely equal. If anything, they're above me. Like, they either have better parts or they're just technically better in so many ways. I'm not talking about that. I'm saying her perspective was everyone she knows, everyone is like a child to her. Not in a diminutive way or a disparaging way. They're all way younger. They're all a different generation. When she talks, and I noticed this with people that are around my age, millennials, the way we talk to each other is very natural. You get each other's jokes. But then you talk to people that are younger than you, like imagine talking to a child and you kind of have to edit your speech a little bit. Not in a disparaging way, but you just know like a 10-year-old is not gonna understand the shit you understand. I mean, if you're sitting there at like 30 years old talking to a 10-year-old, the generational gap, right? What they experience and what you experience. When you're in your 40s, they are 20. And yeah, they're an adult, but how they grew up is different. And so you have to edit your speech a little bit. And you're not gonna get the references they have. Suddenly you're old, and if you try to use that shit, then you're gonna be that person who's like, yeah, daddy-o, like, it's lame. Now imagine the whole world is that. Like, I'm not talking about the plight that I'm experiencing. No. I'm talking about my grandmother's. You're in your 90s, and everyone is that way. No one really speaks your language. And imagine, I guess, just to go with the brainstorm, or the thought process, thought experiment, Lord, that you meet someone, whatever culture, whatever country, who's on that, you have the same perspective, right? Like you experienced the AI boom, you know? We're talking like, it's like 60 or 2070. And like, you know what it was. You know, you were in school in COVID. No one else was. That's all history to them, right? I mean, Gen Alpha is gonna remember it to an extent. Gen Beta, I'm assuming they're gonna call it that. They'll have no memory of this. It's like millennials and 9/11. Like, nobody remembers. People these days, they're like, oh yeah, 9/11 was a thing. It's like, no, 9/11 was a thing. 2008 was a thing. 2010, 2016, 2020, 2023. It just keeps on, the things just keep happening. I am full rant right now, but I still have some coffee, so we're gonna keep on going. And I got a little time before I gotta get ready. Bill's Chills is what we're gonna call this. I've been thinking lately about the game, about Dreadlore. Let's pull it back a little bit into tabletop stuff. About what to do next. There are a few people that have the book. Let me show you the book. It's a big old book. This puppy. I made this in... Hold on. Let me look. I think it says when it's published. It might not. I may not have actually put it in there. Really? Come on now. This is the prototype, so... the very first one that I had printed, just to make sure it didn't look like ass. Yeah, so it looks like 2021. I think it actually came out in 2022 when I actually published it. But this is the tome. Got waterlogged and all kinds of stuff. It still looks good. Pages don't stick together. I'm rather proud of this book. And Lulu Press made a really, the cover's cool. Like it feels like a grimoire. And I did like the heavier paper, and I mean even like the water, you can't really see. Well, actually no, you can. It's not discoloration, but it's like it's when paper dries after it's been wet. The wrinkling. It's pretty cool. Like it feels like this old traveled book. There's a few people that have this. The hardback. You can get a softback as well. I would say 100 people. In some form or another, have the book. Which is wild. Of people that actually play it actively. I know my buddy Punksicle, who I mentioned earlier, he consistently runs games in it. He's got a Fallout setting that he created, which is phenomenal. The guy is a great GM. Really great storyteller. Don't tell him I said that. Probably one of the best that I've experienced. I've known some very good GMs. Punksicle is, if he's not the best, he's right up there. Really, really solid games. Anyway, so it's very flattering. It matters a lot that he runs the game. Anyway, other than his game, I don't know of anyone else that runs, and myself, of course. The dream is it doesn't need to be like a Wizards of the Coast situation, but the dream is for people to play it. I would love to hear about, I'd love to go to, Stack Overflow or what's a place like Reddit or something, and see a community, a small community of people. They're like, oh yeah, blah, 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 this Dreadlore game. And I would explode my brain. and to see what they've done with the rules. Because the game, like, you actually don't need the book. Most of this book, it's like 500 pages. Most of this book is lore. And it's written in a way, I'm kind of promoting my book right now, but it's written in a way it's a reference book, so you learn the game and you can reference, hey, units of coinage, okay, how much is a stone? Oh, I see what it is. But it's also meant to be able to be read. Like, to be interesting to pick up and read. It's not just a reference book or a rules book, right? Like, there's times that it's to the player, but it's more to the character, right? Which I totally stole the idea from Planescape, Second Ed, Dungeons and Dragons. Amani Cook, I believe. If you have not checked out those books, Planescape, the second edition version, the artwork, it's just phenomenal. I took so much from that. Anyway, to give you an example, so currency is a fickle beast on Craster. Craster is the world. It's the name of the world. Think of it like Middle-earth. All of the empires of the world and many of the kingdoms that maintain their sovereignty mint their own coins. Most do so using precious materials, and some do so more elaborately than others. The Sunset Isles trade in foods and spices, and remote regions south of the Miri Expanse deal almost entirely in bejeweled skulls. You heard me right, dear Abne. Those Burks rend the flesh off the skulls of their enemies and fix jewels into them. Seen it myself. A gilded skull piece can buy a lot when times get tough. Keep that in your cage, pun intended. So, it's supposed to be an interesting book. But who wants a tome, like a massive paperweight, and to go through 500 pages? Who has time for it? That's one of the main criticisms, or critiques, I should say, of the book, of the game. If the mechanics could be written in 50 pages, and then it's setting agnostic, so you can apply it to any setting you wanted, right? Star Trek, which is a game that I'm probably going to run next. Why not make that book? Like the Dreadlord Manual, where it's just the meat, so to speak. It's a 50-ish page book that literally it's like, look, here's how you make it, or here's how you make a character. Here's how you run the game. These are the base mechanics of what happens. Maybe a few examples of antagonists, like how they would be built. A brief example of running the game, because I think that's useful. Like actually seeing the mechanics sort of in action right there. Good character sheet. Maybe a very brief, like 1 or 2 page to the Arbiter, which is what I call a GM, a game master, that says, look, if you're trying to create a splat, a setting, this is what you consider as it pertains to Dreadlord. And call that 50, 60 pages. You can pick it up, open it up, be like, oh, we're making characters. Hey, we've never seen this before. We make characters. Psh, 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 psh. Very D&D 5th edition style. Like, you pick up that player's handbook, boom, 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 you have a character and you don't even understand the game. And then for the Arbiter, you open up that little bit and it's like, this is how this works. And then they can read those 4 or 5 pages that shows the example of the antagonist, the example of the actual in-game, how this plays out. And you can play it, or you could test it, or you could review it, which is kind of where I'm going. I think that's maybe the next endeavor to publish. A Dreadlore manual. Stripped of setting, of lore, of fanciness. Just, here's the game, use it. And I've thought about even, like, maybe selling that for, like, it's black and white. I will likely not be able to resist doing some art for it, but having it pen art, which was, this one has art that includes collaboration, cosplay, that's been artified and sort of watercolory, and also people's line art and paintings and such. This has a lot of different stuff in it. But the one I'm thinking of is it's more art house. It's grittier. It's just the manual. This is a cool diagram, almost like Free League style, like. And having it as literally a manual, like a, staple bound, bam. You can print those for like a $1.50, sell them for $5, maybe $10, maybe. Sell it in a pack, so it has like the Into Space setting splat, which is the one I created. Could have a little Dreadlore splat or Craster splat, of just the world in a nutshell. The Red Writ one, where it's that 80s, 70s, 80s, 90s horror, modern type stuff. And you can just have like those three things, the manual itself, maybe even like a couple of the adventures that I've written. I don't know. Of course, that's a phenomenal amount of work, which is no problem. I'll do it anyway. But I want to market it to people that will play it, because the goal is absolutely to make money off of it. I mean, it is a business, but to have people actually want to do it, and it not be like, oh yeah, another game made during COVID. The game wasn't made during COVID. It was made in 2011 and 12 by my then very good buddy Bad and myself. Anyway, this rant is almost complete, y'all. Almost. I had a couple other things to talk about. They had less to do with gaming. I can talk about the Star Trek thing. So obviously I'm making a Star Trek splat, which I can't sell, of course, because it's owned by, I think, Paramount, which are great guys. A lot of great guys. But I can provide it free. On the newsletter, The Dark on Substack. Search The Dark or Dreadlore. If you go to dreadlore.com, you can see everything. Oh, you can see everything. Anyway, I like Star Trek. I think I would be considered a Trekker, not a Trekkie. If you don't know what that means, probably don't like Star Trek much. If you do know what that means, cheers. It means I'm not obsessed with Star Trek, but I'm a fan of it. A Trekkie is someone who's like kind of a part of the community, which people can bash on all day long. Star Trek community's cool as shit. I mean, there's some weird people, but that's the thing. Fanatic, people that are fans of stuff are kind of weird. I mean, you go to a U2 concert, You're gonna have some U2 fans. They're weird. Star Trek fans are cool though. At the very least, they try to go for an ideal idea of the human race. And it is a positive, it is an optimistic outlook. It's one of the things that separates Star Trek from kind of all the other science fictions. It's so easy to go dark, which is cool. Like I actually do think it's cool to go dark. But, I mean, but Star Trek is an optimistic view of humanity. It's that idea of humans can and will overcome their base motives. And again, going back to the sort of stoicism, the Marcus Aurelius type stuff. To be human, we have a responsibility to be great. You say that to people today and they're like, what are you talking about? Humans suck. Humans don't suck. Humans can suck. Like, this is a bad example, but like fire can burn you. Fire can be awful, right? If fire is on you, it is bad. It's a bad thing. You don't want fire on you. But is fire awful? No, it has the potential to be awful. It's not a great metaphor. But it does describe this idea that it's the duty of, it is the responsibility of beings to be, I'm trying not to rhyme here. It's the responsibility of beings to do their utmost. And one of the sort of Stoics' idea is humans, when they're being what they should be, are in harmony with creation. We are creation. We are it. We're like our brains looking down at our feet and hands and being like, whoa, what is that? You know, we're sentient. We're the brains of the universe. And we should be in harmony with ourselves, right? And good to ourselves. Like, there is the realism of, well, you cannot always be good because you got to protect yourself, because bad stuff happens, because the world is real, blah, 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 blah. But we create all that. Anyway, that's a rant. Star Trek has this idea that humans can be greater than what we are now. And so I've always really liked it. And I've considered running games in it. But if you've seen the show, it's not really conducive, or it doesn't seem very conducive to the stereotypical party that goes and does stuff. Now, someone might disagree with that entire statement, which is good, because I'm gonna run a game in Star Trek. And the hope is, actually, the setting is conducive towards this kind of thing. Arguably, anything White Wolf is also not conducive to dungeon crawling. Which, what is a dungeon crawl? It's a group of characters going to do a task. I mean, that's, and solving problems and puzzles and having encounters. I mean, someone says, well, it's just D&D. No, that's the story. that's just storytelling. It's protagonists going and doing shit, right? So away missions is the obvious idea. all of the Star Treks, save for Lower Decks, which I really haven't seen much of. And I, just as a tangent, I think Lower Decks comes from, it comes from an episode in The Next Generation, I think. And I think it's called The Lower Decks. And it deals with sort of the analogs to the bridge crew, but as ensigns and second grade lieutenants. Anyway, that episode, it is not about the bridge crew doing bridge crew shit. But most Star Trek is. Most Star Trek is about the senior officers, the actual movers and shakers, who are on the bridge making shit happen, right? But that's kind of boring for a party, because it's like, well, whoever's the captain, everything they say goes, no matter what. And arguably they should be the most well-versed in Star Trek, and you know what I'm saying? Like it kind of confines their character. And then like you're the communications officer and you're like, they're calling. Right? Like, can it be done? I think maybe. What would be a lot more fun, I think, is to play as characters that are not the bridge crew of the Star Trek Enterprise. You know, you're a bunch of security officers on the Star Trek Enterprise. And then how to make that to where it's not a joke. Because you easily could. You could easily be like, oh yeah, like you don't really know where the ship is ever. And suddenly like it's an alarm, you're like, what? What the fuck is that ooze monster? Ah! You know, the red shirts die and it's kind of rinse and repeat. Like, that's a little lame. Like, quickly you kind of feel like you don't have agency as a player, I think. Could it be done? Yes, it could be done. But I wonder if that story only lives in a moment. Of course, then there's the idea of a series of one-shots, or a series of contiguous one-shots. So you could play them as one-shots, but you could also move through them as a series. So that's not a bad idea, really. So you kind of start off coming out of Starfleet Academy, and you kind of move through and a story unfolds or something. That could definitely be done. The idea I had, though, was you're not necessarily in Starfleet at all. And it delved into this idea of the Maquis. So anytime I mention doing a Star Trek game, the first question actually is, well, what era of Star Trek? Similar to like a Star Wars game, right? Like, well, what era is it? Because that's going to change everything. And my mentality is it doesn't. Because when I think about, I don't want to get into Star Wars. I know it less. I love it. But I don't want to deal with Star Wars people right now. Because you're always wrong with Star Wars people. There's a feel of Star Trek. And I think conveying that feeling in the splat is the most important thing. It's a way of looking at the universe or the galaxy. So if we're playing a game in the real world, right, modern, we're not going faster than the speed of light, right? We're on Earth. You might be on the moon or something, but you know what I'm saying? Like, we know what's out of bounds. In Star Trek, you kind of have to understand what's out of bounds and what isn't. Now, of course, you meet new life and civilizations and all this stuff that break the rules, but when it comes to the politics, all that has to be understood. Like, what is Starfleet? who are the Romulans, and like, if you're a person in that world, what does all that? How does it change the way you think about stuff? And I think the players have to understand that, or else they're not gonna really feel. It's not gonna feel like a Star Trek game. So homework is to watch some Deep Space Nine. And you can put, back to the original question, you can put people in any era, because the thing that really matters about Star Trek is, it's not, do we have trans-warp drive, or are we on a warp 5 engine, right? It's not about that. It's the idea of, what do humans do? What do Klingons do? What do the Romulans do? You know? Because those are pretty similar throughout. You know, those races, and the way, even throughout their histories, as their histories can radically change the society, who they are and how they think about other people. For lack of a better way of saying it, spacefaring is a nautical feeling. You can go out and travel the stars, but it's going to take you time. It's going to take you years. Now, you're not going to be lost forever, most likely, but you know, you have an assignment on a spaceship, you're gone for 6 months, a year or two, you know? It's got to have that feel to it. And you're out in the black, to use a Firefly reference. So my idea was, what if people are not a part of the Federation? But they know of the Federation. And you start getting into something interesting. Do you like them? What do you think about the Klingons? Probably you're scared of them. Or the Nausicaans, or the frickin' Romulans, man. You know, like these, or the Vulcans, who may or may not help you, you know? Like, you're on a freighter navigating, think of it like back in like the 1600s or something. Like, you get these superpowers that if you see that ship with the Spanish flag, it's like, are we in their waters? Are they gonna, I mean, are we fishing in the wrong place? Like, what is that? And how are you making money, you know? And how do you keep it Star Trek and not become Firefly? Which, I love Firefly. I'm a brown coat baby. But that's a very, very different mentality and feel than Star Trek. And yet, they can be pretty close, right? So that's kind of where I'm working right now, in building that story. I want to get away from the idea of someone is the captain, someone is the first mate. I've done that a few times with games, and it almost always ends up bad. Because what happens is the player takes on the mentality. It's that psychological experiment where it's like, oh, you have blue eyes and you have brown eyes, so you're better than you. And then people start role-playing it, and it starts morphing like a Morrowind experiment. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it starts getting out of control. So I'm thinking NPCs have those positions, which I've floated to some of the players, potential players, because I don't know about the time, the schedules, and all that stuff, personalities. But few people kind of like that. They're like, wait, I can't be the captain? It's like, well, no. But no one can. Well, that's railroading. It's like, well, is it? Is it railroading? And so my idea is to almost pull like a Vampire the Masquerade thing here, which is do you really want to be the captain on a ship that's not a Starfleet ship? Because, you know, Starfleet backs you. That's why you're the captain. You get the rank. But if you look at a few of the episodes, like with Picard going undercover and whatnot, and Riker, where I think they're trying to infiltrate the Maquis, I think. And it's really king of the hill. Like, actually, I don't know if they're Maquis or not, now that I'm thinking about it. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's kind of king of the hill. Or like Klingon stuff. Like, if you're not strong enough to be the captain, they will kill you. You know, either honorably or dishonorably, depending on which race you are. So there's that mentality of, it's kind of better to be the power behind the throne, or to be working together, making decisions, and then having these NPCs as the authorities, right? I don't know. Or you put them in an actual class structure where it's like, listen, these are the senior crew, you guys are not. There's an outside entity that says, you're a lieutenant, and every so often, you might get the captain's chair during the night shift above the other players because they have their stations, but it's not permanent. Like, you know, it works like that would work. Now, I like the drama. I like the drama that unfolds when it's like the players have to decide, wait a minute, who should be in charge as characters. But when that bleeds into the actual player base, it oftentimes becomes personal, and I want to avoid that at all costs. So maybe I should never game again. Anyway, Star Trek game definitely upcoming. Star Trek Splat potential, and I do it for free on the thing. I think my rant is likely concluded here. I hope if you guys have been watching, I hope you enjoyed this ridiculous thing that I'm doing. I'm gonna see really quick. Hopefully this doesn't blow up my... Yeah. I think this is it. I'm doing stuff behind the scenes here. We have 133 followers on Twitch. Huh. We're looking for 300. Going slow, but that's fine. We have 1 sub. I think that's my brother. And then we need 9 more for the next goal. Apparently, if you have Amazon, you can do a free sub. Anyway, I think that's it for tonight. I hope this was enjoyable for whomever's watching it. If you like it, let me know. That encouragement is, I know it doesn't seem like a big deal to hit a like button, you know, because it's so ubiquitous, but for smaller channels, it definitely is. It doesn't feel like you're just speaking into the void, which, to go full circle, is arguably the reason I'm even doing it, is to connect with people. That I'm trying to target the audience who's actually interested in these things and honing that, right? Because that's the goal. It's not just, hey, I made up this thing. It's, I made this thing that people could use, might be interested in. All right, peace. One last thing. Thanks so much, although they don't know anything about it, to the music. It's, I put it in the comments, it's Brilliant Classics on YouTube. This is the Italian Lute, Classical Renaissance and Baroque Music compilation. I'm using it as This is a bunch of music that they don't own, you know? And they give credit to all these different people that played it. This particular one is Sonata Number 1, Volume 3, Carente. Let's see. Played by, like all the last ones have been played by someone named Yavar Genov. And this is Giovanni Zamboni. Anyway, that is it for tonight, y'all. Peace out.